Sucio Talk live in the studio, Oakland, here with Chef Fonzie. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just usual day to day.
Chilling out.
The good stuff.
All right. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna move this a little over here.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it should be good there.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
So, how are things, man?
Things are going good. Just
Cool.
going into busy season.
Yeah.
And it's the fall, going into the winter soon.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. I understand like a lot of places are a little slower right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's not, it's everybody. So I think we all look forward to the busy season coming up and,
I see that.
nose down and ready to work.
Heard that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Commis out here in Oakland. James Syhabout's restaurant, 2 Michelin.
Yeah.
Has had it for many, many years. When did they first acquire the first star?
Within the first year they were open.
Right.
Yeah. So I know that they got it within their first year, which is very impressive.
Right.
And then the second star came about. I can't remember the year, but I know it was the exact year that Manresa got their third star. So,
right.
yeah.
Okay, got you. So everybody during that time, I guess you got a little comeuppance.
Yeah.
You know. So how is it working for Chef James over there?
It's great. I'm from Sacramento for the most part. I moved out to Salt Lake City to kind of like get a break. And, I came back in order to work Michelin. I was like, I've always wanted to do it, push myself, blah, blah, blah. But I told myself, whatever restaurant I put myself in, like that's like multiple stars or 1 star, it doesn't matter. I had to be for a chef that I can, identify with, like basically believe, because I know it's going to be rough, it's going to be hard, so I have to basically be on board 100% with, who's teaching me. And, I've obviously found my perfect match because I've been there for 6 years.
Right.
And so, I worked my way up from CDP to sous chef to CDC.
Damn.
And so, I love working for the guy. He's fair. He likes to keep a good work environment, healthy work environment, and likes to keep things lighthearted. But at the end of the day, it's the food that matters, it's the experience, and it's the guests that matter.
Very serious.
Yeah, so, we all like to have fun, but, we all know it needs to be done. So as long as you're getting your stuff done, as long as you're doing it at the level he wants it, then you're going to have a good day.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you're at that level nowadays, I know how it was old school. How do you handle discipline nowadays when things don't go the best way?
So, definitely.
You just can't be punching people in the face anymore.
No. It's definitely the culture has changed for sure. And I think, the days where you can grab someone by their chef coat and throw them out and stuff like that, you can't do that anymore. And there's a level of patience that has to be had and understanding. I also like to tell people and other chefs too, it's like the days where cooks had to adjust to your teaching, it's now flip-flopped to where like now you have to adjust the way people learn.
They're learning, right?
Yeah, and so patience has to be had, a lot of patience. But no, I think for good and for bad, times have changed. But sometimes, you do get frustrated. It's a very high pressure environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so, you want everyone to produce at their best. And, sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to. And now you have to have a little bit more control when dealing with those situations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to find is new ways for us to be able to handle those things.
Yeah.
If we don't know, we learned one way. What's another way? Let's learn another way. So if any other chefs have any ideas, let's fucking talk about it.
Seriously.
Here on Sucio Talk, we take it all the way back. So where were you born, baby?
I was actually born in San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah, so I'm Bay Area born.
Right.
And then I was adopted, moved out to Sacramento area, kind of like a Cameron Park. Lived out there for a few years.
Okay.
And then moved closer to Sacramento. Lived in Arizona for a little bit. Came back here. But for the most part, stayed in Sacramento, Citrus Heights area, Roseville, and then moved to Napa. I started cooking in Sacramento, and
okay. What restaurant?
My first restaurant, it was a mom and pop seafood restaurant called Finn's.
Okay.
Market and Grill. So basically, it was like seafood.
There you go.
And they also had like a fresh market too, so you can buy like fish fresh and whatnot. So it was a fun learning experience. My first cook job, I was like 17, 18. Worked there for a few years, and then worked for a country club. So it was Arden Hills Country Club. Worked there for a little over a year. And I was like, I need to find like a better, like, I knew what I wanted to do, like tasting menu, like prefix, but I didn't really know how to seek that out.
Get there.
Yeah. Right. So then I started working at this restaurant in Sacramento called Grange, and the chefs there were awesome. The executive chef and the executive sous chef now have their own spots in Sacramento.
Really?
Yeah. One of them has a big gourmand, like, so they're doing their thing. So I learned from some good people out there. I was only there for like 10 months, and then I tried to go back to culinary school, CIA, and I quit that job to get ready to move, and some things fell through, and last minute I couldn't go. So that's when I was like, okay, well, I should probably move to Napa or like get a job in Napa, because I know things are going down out there. So I worked for Morimoto's out there in Napa back in 2012 is when I started.
2012?
Yeah.
Who was the chef?
His name is Kong, Chef Kong. Still one of my biggest mentors. Like he when I went in there, I was very unorganized, like wet behind the ears. Right. And, he was from French Laundry, and a lot of the crew there was, from French Laundry. The executive sous chef was from French Laundry. So, and I knew back in that time, I was like, maybe I need a stepping stone before I go to like Michelin. So I thought that'd be the perfect fit, because, it's not tasting menu, but it's Japanese food, which I like, but the chefs are from, upper echelon of a kitchen. So I was like, I learned from them. So
the form is there.
The form is there. The fundamentals, the blocking and tackling. And so, yeah, you pretty much, what's it? They knock you down to build you back up, kind of a thing. And he did a very good job of that. Right. And
was Chef Sean there at that time?
Sean Massey?
Yeah. No. Sean, yes, but
yes, he was.
Chef Sean Street.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
got you.
Good dude.
Yeah, great guy. So he was there, and who can you think of any other cooks or chefs that were there that are doing their thing right now? Or
so yeah, there's Sean Street. He's doing his thing. Like
Rodney Wages.
Rodney Wages. So I actually just missed him. Just missed him. Okay, yeah. So but we've stayed in contact in other ways. I know him through through the family, through everyone. Yeah. But no, yeah. Other chefs there doing their thing. Some of my friends are like in wineries right now. Like kind of stayed in Napa, like doing the winery thing.
Napa's beautiful, man.
It's so beautiful.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I'm in Vallejo, so I'm just like a 5-10 minute drive. Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, just there.
Cool.
Met a lot of good people.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for about 3 years, maybe a little over 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, when you started there, did you know you were going to stay there for 3 years? Did you think about that, or were you
I was kind of thinking about that. Yeah. So I was like, I knew I liked growing up. I used to watch Chef Morimoto on Iron Chef, the original one. Right. And I used to really dig his skill, his style. So
he's got style, man.
Yeah, and he's got style. So when I had a stage for Morimoto, I was like super anxious, super nervous. I was like, I'm going to work for this guy who I used to watch. Yeah. And so I was like, as long as I'm learning, I'll stay there. And I was learning, and then it got to the point where I wasn't anymore, or at least not to the way I wanted. Right. So then I was like, well, I gotta go somewhere else. And I think at that point, which is totally normal, it happens to all of us, but we tend to get burnt out. You're working 12 plus hours a day, just like. So I went to Salt Lake City, and stayed out there. I worked for a chef, Bowman Brown, who had a tasting menu restaurant out there. Right. It was basically like Commis, but like in the mountains. Okay. So
what made you go out there, Salt Lake City? How'd you find it?
So basically just I had someone tell me about it, and my girlfriend was like, hey, come work with me. We weren't dating at the time. She's like, hey, I'm going to get out of here. Like, do you want to come with me? And I was burnt out. So I was like,
oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Like, as long as it, and she had shown me that she worked for this guy too. And his partner, Viet Pham, who's in Salt Lake City. Right. Has his own spots. He actually has a chicken joint, which is really good. Okay. But anyway, so it's like, maybe work for him. He'll teach you how to work like a tasting menu restaurant, like the format and the order of operations, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll I won't be such in the high pressure, like it'll still be high pressure, but a little bit more slower pace.
Right.
And so I was like, cool, I do want to learn, but I'm also burnt out. So it kind of like, helped both sides of what I needed. Plus being in the mountains, it's nice. It's beautiful, beautiful hikes, the snow seasons. It was all great. I actually liked it a lot. It was nice to be out there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I worked with Bowman for a little while, was a sous chef, and he really opened up my eyes to where I said Chef Kong kind of taught me the fundamentals, blocking and tackling.
Right.
This guy more so opened up like my creative side. He's like, put a dish on. I was like, I wouldn't know the first thing about putting a dish together because I'd never done that before. So he's like, basically opened up my eyes on how to be creative, and it was nice. He was really patient too, very patient. So, like I said, he's like Commis, but in the mountains out there. So and he actually used to come out here, eating at Commis and take inspiration. So like when I came out here, I was like, I'm going to work Michelin, and I was like putting my resumes at a couple places, and then Viet Pham, the co-owner of Forge at the time, was like, oh, I know Chef James, so if you want, I can put in a good word. And so I went in there, gave my resume, they weren't hiring, and then did what I could, just email, hey, thank you for your time, blah blah blah. And I think less than a week later, he's like, oh, actually, I'm gonna have an opening pretty soon. One of my guys is leaving. Do you want to stage? Staged, So I was like, this is the Michelin experience. That has to be the best stage I've ever had. I showed up 2 hours early because I was driving from Sacramento. I was living with my family at the time. Yeah. So I drove out here. I was here I think about an hour and a half early. Yeah. And I just sat in my car, just writing, okay, this is what you gotta do. Always be I was trying to get mentally prepared. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun stage. I liked it. The crew there was just I was very just head down, not trying to talk or anything because you don't want to show that you're comfortable because you shouldn't be.
Exactly. Don't have any fun. Yeah.
It's I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to do my task and get this job. But yeah, everyone there was lighthearted, they were, don't get me wrong, they were doing their job and they're but they knew how to cut loose a little bit, and release that pressure valve a little bit. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I like that. But at the same time, everyone was doing their job. Everyone was serious about it. So I was like, yeah, staged. They invited me out to go to In-N-Out with them afterwards. I stayed till the very last minute, up until orders. And I was like, well, I got to drive back to Sacramento. And they're like, oh, well, if you want to come with us to In-N-Out, which was nice too. I was like, oh, they don't have to do that. I'm just a stage.
Right.
And then about less than a week later, I got offered the job. And yeah, I haven't, the rest is kind of a history.
I would say is going to In-N-Out with them probably got you that job, bro.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I wasn't able to go.
You didn't go?
No, I was I just wanted to be.
The answer is yes.
I know. But it was. I think it was about 12:30-ish around that time. Yeah. And I was like, I do have to drive to Sacramento. Right. And so I was like, if I eat a 4x4, I'm probably gonna pass out in the car on the way home because I'm so full. Right. No, but it was cool. Everyone was really nice.
Safety first.
Yeah, exactly. Safety first. Hey. Yeah, but no, it was good. I've been there for 6 years and developed a good relationship with everyone who's walked through that door. I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what I like to take from restaurants is the people you meet and the experiences because you could always learn something from everybody. I'm the CDC there. I still learn stuff from the CDPs. The good thing about this industry, this profession, is that there's always a chance to learn something. There's always something. There's always something that can be taught because you're never going to know everything. Yeah, and there's always ways to do something better. I think the classic way is this is my way. You learn it, and don't ever deviate from that. Which there's a lot of truth to that. But sometimes learning something new can also challenge yourself in a new way. So I appreciate everything that this profession is really done for me as far as staying curious, learning, being humble, because you get humbled a lot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Every day. Yeah. How do you think the food has changed over the years that you've been there? From when you first walked in to now? Is it simpler? Is it more? That's a good question. So I'm lucky enough to be with Chef James during this time, but he has definitely put more of his personal touches and his personal life into the dishes, where before he was not saying he wasn't doing his thing, but I think we all try to get to that point where we try and express ourselves with food, and sometimes we even me, I think I can speak for a lot of chefs, but we tend to rely on what we've learned in the past.
Right.
And like trying to integrate your own, I guess, like story in your food is kind of hard. And so, he sat, me and the sous chef down at the time and was like, hey, like I want to start getting more like Thai influence in this, like Lao influence as well as like Chinese. And yeah, sure. So whatever you want to do. And so more and more, he's like been adding more like different, like kind of like more Chinese based flavors or, Thai Lao based flavors into the dishes, but like not deviating too far of like what made him who he is.
Right.
Like as far as like his upbringing in food. So I think his food has changed and for the better. And I think you definitely see more of his personality through his food.
Right.
Yeah. And it definitely inspires me, and because like constantly I'm just like, oh, how do I make food mine? And it's like I think it's a constant journey, and so but the way he does it is like very smart and very methodical,
right? And
he's always taught me how to be more than just a good chef, but a good businessman as well. He's very about the numbers. Like a dish is very good, but like what did it cost to make that dish?
Does it make sense?
Yeah, does it make sense? Like, is it repeating itself on the menu in some way? I don't know. So he looks at every aspect of it, and it's like he definitely opened up my eyes.
Right. How long does it take to get a dish onto the menu from like thought to on the plate? The R&D process.
Sometimes, it varies. Sometimes it could be like, hey, like squab's available. These are available. I'm going to put that on the dish. And then like the next week it's on the menu. Okay. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, I want to work with this. This is a little bit challenging. Sometimes it could take like a couple more weeks, a few weeks, but he's very quick with it though. He's very like, let's take this, boom, there, and it tastes great.
Right.
So it almost seems effortless when it comes from him, but like for me, when I try, it's like I overthink it. It's like, okay, I think no, yes, no, add that, take that away to it. But like at the end of the day, like the thing you start off with is probably one of the better ones that you did. So
exactly,
yeah. So I kind of just pull the trigger.
The dish, and it's different every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes a dish is better to put on the menu 80% and then figure out the 20% during service. Because
that's fair.
Because I've always found that just helps make the dish better when you say, okay, we don't know what it's going to be or what it looks like. We're just going to make the components and we're going to plate it and we're going to see.
Yeah.
And then you just keep changing it. We used to do that with Costa a lot, where we would change the plate. Change the way we cooked it. It was we knew we wanted this piece of fish with this sauce and this thing over here.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we got our 3 components. How are we going to do it? Do we burn the fish? Do we poach it?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you do that, it allows you a little bit of mental freedom.
Yeah.
And also too, like giving it to only 2 people a night until you get it right also helps.
Yeah.
Like, what is your menu layout right now? I haven't looked at it. How many courses do you offer? I know you offer a bar menu. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the bar menu, that's definitely like the bar side of Commis has definitely evolved over the years because it was added on in 2018. And it was start off as a la carte. People come in and we just like had that side just be for the bar side Commis. Right. But since the pandemic, we had to adapt, and now it's gone through a few different iterations. Now it's a prefix menu. Actually, sorry, I think it started off as a prefix menu. It was a 5-course prefix menu, and then we went to a la carte, and now it's back to prefix, but it's only the bar seats because since the pandemic, we kind of had to space out tables over on the other side.
Right.
And so since we had to do that, we had to make up for those tables for next door. But I mean, the prefix menu on the bar is like solid. I think it's like if you're not trying to like go in and spend $200 plus dollars, and you just want a little bit something more short, but also upscale. I think it's a perfect option, and it's actually it's a good adaptation to the times that we have faced, and it's. Like I said, Chef James is a very good chef, and he's also a good businessman. And so the way he thinks about his business and the way he adapts, I take notes. Right. But the menu is great. It also has the egg course, which everyone loves.
Right.
The bread and eggs.
That thing.
Yeah.
Break that thing down for everyone, because don't let any secrets go, but just the base of it.
It's not too many secrets to be had about it. I wouldn't say it's very simple, but it's very straight to the point. You got a soubise, which is his version of onion soup, and then smoked dates. So it's very like breakfasty. And then you have chives, and then an egg yolk that's been slow cooked to where it's like almost gelatinous and like smooth and silky. And it's just a proper dish. Like chef makes the joke where it's like, oh, I took it off the menu, and then too many complaints, I had to put it back on.
Right.
And chef's very much like, he doesn't like to repeat dishes. He likes to keep it new. So I know like, not that I know he loves the egg dish, but I know he's like, it's the same thing. And,
right.
And so
he doesn't want to be, it's his oysters and pearls.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting that. Yeah.
And so I can understand that though as a creative of being like, God damn it,
I'm doing it again.
I'm doing it again. Here I am. But as I've gone through these sort of iterations of my career, doing these private dinners and all these things, you notice that there's a bit of like you want to change the menu all the time, but there's also this bit of like, don't change the menu all the time. Like, do the same dishes, just figure out a new way to do them.
Yeah.
And I think that can bring you farther than trying to like do too much and think about too much and go too far away from what you like.
Yeah.
Essentially, if you have a cooking identity, right? No matter what, you have like 2 or 3, 4 things. And I hate to say this because people are like, what's your specialty? Well, right? But we all kind of have one.
Yeah.
And it's like, play to that. Definitely.
Yeah.
But learn to like change it a little bit. And I think that we can all figure out our identity. Because I know you can attest to this. Back in the day, when we, worked at these other places, we were copying menus from the Alinea book.
Yeah.
We were copying menus from all the books that were coming out at that time. So it's like,
very true.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we trying to like hide from? I think nowadays R&D has changed, and you can for sure like look at it at a different way. But before, we just used to straight up be like, oh, we're going to do the fluid gel from Alinea.
Yeah. And
you didn't tell anybody. You just like did the recipe, and it was fine.
Yeah.
I wonder how many restaurants are doing that now. And, when you R&D stuff, how do you make new recipes or look at certain dishes or certain ingredients?
So putting together a dish, basically, I look at an ingredient, like, what do I want to use? So I think of like very like, who's the star of the dish? Take that.
Who's
like,
the star? I like that.
So it's like, who are we representing here? It's like, let's just say, my last dish, it was a snapper. And, chef's like, hey, there's snapper available. Let's use snapper. So like, cool. So what goes good with snapper? Like, and we want to make it more, Asian, Chinese, Thai Lao. So how do I introduce that to the star of the dish? And it's like, okay, but also keep it like kind of classical, like French, like, you try and take all these ideas and put it together and make it cohesive. And so, it's like, cool, what goes good with, fish? It's like, how about we grill it? What do we do with the bones? How about we make its own stock and a sauce from it? And then it's like, well, how about ginger and leeks and, like very classic, like Chinese, like ginger and fish. And so basically made a ginger and basically ginger fumet, and then seasoned it with kind of like with more Asian influence, like white soy. There's lemongrass in there and whatnot. So like you take those components of where you're trying to come from, and then so it's like these things are complementing the fish. I'm not wasting too much of the fish because I'm using the bones. So it's just kind of like taking all these like little things. I basically take the one star of the dish and just cook around it. It's like, how much of this can I utilize? And then just whatever flavors we're trying to go for, ginger, leeks, blah blah blah. And then just kind of like making it to the next level, taking it to the next level. So, grilling it. Well, am I going to baste it with anything? Because, I love Japanese techniques. That's kind of what I did for the most part of my career. I was like, okay, how about we do like a tare? And it's like, but we won't do like a straight up Japanese tare. So what I do is, make a tare from maltose, so like nice and thick, it candies on there, and then I infuse it with chamomile, so like chamomile, ginger, like all these things. So just trying to figure out those, like how to put it all together,
the intricacies of it.
It's like, because like I guess another level I operate is like, I want to make something that someone can't make at home, because otherwise then what's the point of them coming?
Right.
But obviously people can make mac and cheese, but people like to go eat mac and cheese from like someone who makes it really well.
Right.
But I think at this level, you have to do some. For me, I try and do things that no one can do at home, because people are going to come out and spend $200+ on a menu. It's like you kind of have to wow them a little bit. Like, it's like, oh, I can't do this, and that's why I'm here. So,
right.
That's another angle to come at it, I guess. Yeah.
And then, what's the kitchen layout over there at Commis? How many cooks do you have? What are the shifts? Do you have any prep cooks? Like, what is day at Commis?
It's actually kind of cool. I like it because everyone is pretty much the same. We're open only 5 days a week, so we all work the same days. But the bar side cooks come in a little earlier because they have to do like the bread, and they open up a half hour earlier. So they open up at 5. We open up at 5:30 on the dining room side. So they come in a little earlier, start their prep earlier, and then we all get there. So not to sidetrack, but one thing I do like is like when I first started working there, we'd get there at 10 o'clock. And I think over time we've found a way to, at least the way it's structured, we all get there at like either like the bar side guys, they come in at like 10:30, 11, somewhere around there. We come in at like 11:30 to 12. So like there's a little bit more of a morning we could have to ourselves. I think a little bit of that personal life you could have. And it's like before, you work like 14, 15 hours a day. And not to say I do miss that sometimes, because it's nice to be productive, but it's also nice to have like the morning to yourself, like have a little bit of like time for your mental, which is very important in this industry. What
are you doing during that time for your mental? What do you go through? What are the motions you go through in your head to get yourself ready for the day at a 2 Michelin star restaurant?
Well, starts with waking up early. I average about like 5-6 hours of sleep a day. So I wake up about like 7:30. I enjoy getting up. I kind of like take my time. I have animals, so I kind of like play with them a little bit. Right. Sometimes get trapped on social media, like we all do. Doom scroll for about like 20 minutes.
Chefs use it best.
Yeah, and so and then I try and get a workout in. I go for a run, or I go to the gym, go for a swim. Usually being physically active kind of makes me feel at peace. Or I golf. Okay. Yeah.
Are you golfing out there in Sacramento?
I haven't golfed in Sacramento, but yeah, in Vallejo, there's a spot I actually went last night.
Oh right, it's the Napa one, right? It's like 5 minutes away.
So there's the Napa one, but then there's one Blue Rock Springs. It's been there for
James is an avid golfer.
That's who got me back into it. Yeah.
Okay, so James, and I know Chef Jeff as well.
Chef Jeff, I golf with him too.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Okay, so you guys got a little golf club going on.
Yeah, it's actually
Chef Golf Club.
Yeah.
How many of you are there?
There's a lot. Like I know Corey Lee golfs. Everyone knows Thomas Keller golfs.
Right.
Like I think it's
at those places. Thomas Keller.
Yeah, I mean,
really?
Yeah, he's a very avid golfer. I think something happened about a year ago where someone stole his golf clubs or something.
Right.
Yeah,
that did happen.
So no, I think there's a golfing in chef life is very congruent. I think with a lot of things though, not just chef life, but or the industry, but it's about consistency. It's about patience. Like how do you respond to adversity? And consistency is mainly key, and like practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to get, you're not going to be consistent. And so there's a lot of congruencies between the two that I really appreciate. And Chef James is actually the one who got me back into it, because I used to golf back in the day, but like not competitive, like just hitting balls.
Right.
And then he's like, "Hey, I'm about to sell my clubs. You want some?" I was like, "Oh, I do need some new clubs." And so he's like, "Okay, cool, come out with me." Embarrass myself, and no one likes to be embarrassed. So I started working on it, started getting competitive, and the joke is, I never knew I had a temper until I started playing golf.
That's funny.
No, but it's cool. Like I've learned to actually manage my temper a little bit more, and like my frustration. So at the end of the day, you're there to have fun. So and I think as well as with cooking, obviously there's more on the line when we're cooking at work. But getting sidetracked. Sorry.
No, don't talk about man. Sucio Talk, baby.
The workload, the way the work goes over at Commis is like we all get there at the latest 12 o'clock.
Okay.
First, we put away produce. We've structured it to where sous chef and garde put away produce. They check it in, everything. Seafood person who works seafood station puts away the seafood for the restaurant, and then protein puts away protein. So everyone has their own little job of putting things away. And then 2 people scrub down the flat top, get the stations ready. Pastry folds the towels and the aprons for everyone to get ready.
Okay.
And it's just very organized. So then once that starts up, everyone's ready. Me and the sous chef go around, see who's going to need help throughout the day. And, we always, I think everyone knows it, but, we want them to push and try and get their list done by themselves, but we all understand no one's perfect.
Right.
And, you don't want to be told, like, an hour before you open up, hey, I wasn't able to get to this. So I was just like, hey, like,
tell me early.
What do you need? And if you don't need anything, like, what's on your radar, the things I might not get to. So that way, around 3 o'clock, I'd be like, hey, did you get to this? It's like, no, cool, I'll tackle it. And then garnishes, big projects at first, and then garnishes last. 4 o'clock, we do staff meal.
What's your staff meal? What's like a usual?
Oh, you know what? It's kind of all over the board. I let people.
Do you assign it to stations?
So what we do is, like, on Saturday nights or Friday nights, after we're done breaking down and everything, we all come together and we plan out staff meal for the next week.
Okay, so the menu's written before you go for the weekend.
Yes.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so it's just like
do it.
Because there are some times where it's like, okay, it's always been Tuesdays this station, Wednesdays this station, Thursdays this station, and then Friday, Saturday. So Tuesday's sous chef.
They make the whole thing.
No. So actually, it's it's a very team effort. So what happens is, sous chef gets Tuesdays because I think it's nice to do that for the CDPs. Hey, welcome back. You're on staff meal, and so we do a nice little thing to where it's like sous chef will do Tuesdays, and then Wednesday, garde is like, okay, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to do something. This is I try and inspire the fact that, staff meal is very, it's the one time you get to do something creative and feed the people you care about the most, who you work with every day. And, it's almost like cooking at home for your family because, we sometimes spend more time with the people at work than we do with our own family.
Very true.
So, at the very least, like, feed them something delicious, something that's nourishing. Or nurturing, whichever.
Oh, it's both.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nourishment is nurture.
Yep. And so, so we let them do what they want. Like, sometimes they do something that's very, like, very close to them. Sometimes they'll do something their family used to make. Sometimes they'll get experimental. Like, I want to do like a Hawaiian barbecue today or this day. And so everyone has, like, since they know what they're going to do going into the weekend for the next week, it's like then you can start planning out, like, order protein this day and make sure you can get ahead and start prepping a little bit for staff meal this day if you make time. But at the end of the day, I just want them to make a great staff meal, and we do adhere to restrictions. Like, everyone's got their preferences. So we make a vegetarian one if someone can't eat it. We try our best to make sure everyone's fed.
Right. And all day, how big is your team number-wise?
So right now, me and Chef James, and then the sous chef, junior sous chef, but essentially 3 chef de parties, 2 people on pastry, and then 2 people next door in that kitchen.
So like 12 to 14?
Yeah, I think it's like 12.
12.
I can't do math right now.
Hey, it's all good, bro. It's funny because I was just at a dinner and we were talking about how chefs can't do math.
Yeah.
Because we're
the best and worst at it for some reason.
Yeah, it's like, literally, it's like, I have 120 covers and you have 140 portions. Mm-hmm. Or 120 portions, but 15 people are vegetarian. You're like, do I have enough?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get the calculator.
Yeah, it's almost like when you print in certain forms, then you, like, you're Rain Man. It's like, when it comes to the numbers, like, as far as, like, money, it's like, and this is how much we're spending, this is how much we have to cut down. Right. But then it's like, certain numbers, like, how many people do we have on our staff right now?
Yeah, exactly.
it's like the episode of The Office where Kevin can't do math, but when you put it into pie terms, like, if you have 25 pies and there's 30 pies that you need to, it's like, that's easy, da-da-da. And
Okay. I'm not very well versed in The Office. Were you, like, watching it every new season?
No, I actually got into it, like, Enrique, a mutual friend of ours.
Got you.
When I lived with him, he was always watching, like, funny shows, but, like, and it's hard for me to get into new shows because, like, then I have to dedicate my time into liking it. And I had to force myself to watch a couple episodes with him, and then after that I was like, this show's hilarious, why haven't I been watching it? And then I just started, like, and then I watched it all, and it's funny.
If I tell you what, as many times as I've seen The Office played in the background at apartments, like, it is crazy how much that show is on.
Yeah.
That shit is on everywhere, always. Someone's watching The Office at all times of the day.
Yeah.
Crazy life. Cool, dog. So open 5 days a week, close 2 days.
Yeah.
You're going golfing. Is there any other activities that you're doing out there? Do you guys ever do any field trips with the cooks?
No. So we were trying to plan some out before the pandemic, and then that happened. So I think we would like to get more field trips in. That's for sure. Just there's a lot of a lot of avenues. I know we've taken a trip to our caviar factory in Sacramento, Nikolai. That was the last thing we did, but I definitely like to get more involved.
Well, it's difficult.
With that.
You know, you guys work 5 days, and then you're gonna ask them to hang out with you on the 6th day.
Yeah, it's
I already seen you motherfuckers enough.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I appreciate seeing our guys outside of work.
Right.
But yeah, I do understand that not everyone wants to keep seeing the same people 6 days a week. And it's a stretch to have
it's tough.
But every once in a while, we like to keep it light and like, hey, we're doing this after Saturday night service, or we're all meeting up on this day,
right? And
we'll plan it out. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Like the crew right now, like as far as like they like to hang out. According to past restaurants I've worked at, it's not as much people like to go out anymore.
Right? No, they don't.
Yeah, it's like back in the day, it's like, hey, after this service day, we're gonna go down the street and go to the bar, and it's like it feels like that doesn't happen anymore.
That's why I guess takes longer.
I'm sorry.
Clean down takes longer because of that.
Yeah,
Because before you're like you have to make it to the bar to get a drink.
Yeah.
So you used to fucking scrub.
Push, let's go. We can make last call.
People are like, we're just gonna go home.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit slower.
I will say everyone breaks down very fast.
Yeah.
Everyone's just
well-oiled machine like you guys. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, but it's everyone does enjoy they like to go out sometimes, but I think for the most part people just like to keep it casual.
Where are you guys going out over there?
The Lodge.
The
Lodge, or Kona Club, which is the opposite way down Piedmont. It's that tiki bar.
Right. Those are your two spots.
Yeah, and then every now and again, when everyone wants to go out and get a late bite, we'll go to New Gold Medal. And I don't know. New
Gold Medal's legit.
That's
it's open
the place.
Till 3 a.m.
Yeah. It's so. On a Saturday night, if we get out at 1:30, it's cool. That place is still open for another hour and a half. Let's go.
Right.
And so we recently went there with it was one of our bartenders last day, and we're he had made plans to go to Drexel, and then the kitchen staff, we made plans to go to New Gold Medal because it was one of our cooks' birthday. So hey, let's just go out. And so we ended up going out, meeting with the front of the house crew, and I was like, hey, we're done here, but we're hungry. So we all just ended up going to New Gold Medal. So it was really cool. Everyone just kind of hung out, and it felt like one of the good old times.
Yeah. Dude, that's legit, man. I think those are those moments that make everything worth it in life. Yeah. Especially for restaurant groups, nobody that's outside of it will ever know the feeling of the camaraderie of late night hanging out, drinking, eating food.
Yeah. That's the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Chinese food. It's you just finished the night cooking at a 2 Michelin star restaurant. You made some people's dreams, memories, birthdays, anniversaries. And then you go to New Gold Medal restaurant that is in one of the shittiest neighborhoods in Oakland to be let's go, baby.
Yeah, it's let's get that food.
It's a desolate land out there, and you're in there 2 a.m. Everybody else is doing the same. Yeah, and they could have a walk-in 30 top and be like, cool, right over here.
Yeah, just sit at the circular table
1 and 2. Yeah, with the 14 seats.
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn, owning and operating restaurants is one thing, but I could never even fathom what it's like to run a place like that.
No, it's constant.
How do you? Yeah, and your menu's 45 things.
It's impressive, bro. And they're fast too. They're fast. They put up their food pretty fast.
Do they have tanks in there? I think
they have seafood
tanks, right?
They do.
I was like, damn, it just has more going on than most fine dining restaurants.
Yeah,
and you're like, damn, they're pulling everything out.
Yeah, and the consistency is there too. Every time I go there, it's fire.
Bro, the salt and pepper pork.
Yeah.
Fire, bro.
Yeah, it's all good.
Every time. But yeah, I went to eat there with Nico and Andres.
Okay.
After we did the first Chef's Roundtable podcast.
Okay.
Which was legit. Should get some more chefs to do the roundtable. Chef, what do you think is in your future, man? What do you want to do with all this knowledge you've learned at Commis? Do you ever want to open your own place? Do you ever or do you want to stay, with James? Do you want to grow that? What's going on?
I mean, the goal is to open my own spot. I've always had this little pipe dream So I want to open up the first Michelin star restaurant in Sacramento. Unfortunately, I can't do that because there's already 2 1 Michelin stars out there in Sacramento. But the goal,
first 2 Michelin chefs.
That could be.
Let's go.
I gotta get one first.
Let's go.
I mean, the goal would be to move back to Sacramento, open my own spot. I like to teach. I'm sorry.
What kind of food?
Fine dining, like prefix menu. Right. I love that style. I always have, and there's something that pushes me to do that. And when you're doing that, it also is, you're pushing every day.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the feel of I guess it's purpose, and it's also pushing yourself, and also the idle hands are the devil's playground. So I just I like to keep it moving. So, but also like being creative. It's hard, but I think at the end of the day, like, as long as you're happy with the dish you put up, and it speaks to you, then that's a good feeling for me. But I also love to teach. I love to teach. I think that's half of a chef's job is to teach, but I think probably more than that. So yeah, and the goal is to move to Sacramento, open up my own spot. Hopefully get 1 star. Okay. That's the plan right now. That's why I've been with Chef James for so long. He's taught me a lot, like running a business, like how to manage numbers, and like I'm a big people person. I'm a good communicator, so the people aspect of it I'm covered. So it's mainly the behind the scene things is the things I needed to learn, and that's definitely something he's like pushed on me.
That's legit.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's gonna be when the time comes of me leaving, it's gonna be hard because that place has been my home for 6+ years. So yeah, and that's the next step is like to essentially make Chef proud and continue his legacy, because you hear about all these chefs who came from French Laundry and they're all doing big things, and you just kind of want to show appreciation to where you came from, and that's like not just location but also like the people who were there for you, like Chef James, my old chef. Bowman Brown, Kang from Morimoto's. You always want to be a good example and kind of elevate them, because I think when you do well, you elevate their name, and you always want to elevate people and do well to them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you live in Vallejo. There's a diner over there called Happy something. It's on the downtown strip. Have you been there? They got the crispy pancakes. You know what?
I feel really guilty, but I actually haven't eaten a lot in Vallejo. I kind of come back over here.
Vallejo, baby.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's some spots I go to.
Good Times is called, I think.
Good Times?
Yeah, Good Times Diner. They got a thin and crispy pancake.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Everyone should go there. That place is fire.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, downtown off of... I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about.
It's like where the farmers market, where they put the farmers market.
Yeah.
It's right there. Classic cars at that farmers market.
Is it Good Day Cafe?
Good Day. That's what it is.
I DoorDash from them a lot, actually.
There you go.
I had to stop because it gets expensive, but every once in a while when I want to treat myself on a Sunday morning, I'll DoorDash and I'll pick it up. And they're good. They're solid. They're very consistent. Yeah.
Okay. Where are you eating when you're not what's like a consistent good night out for you?
Night out.
Where are you a regular?
I would say I don't eat out too much, but I would say if there is a place I eat, it's Funky Elephant.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of it or been there.
Where's that?
So he's actually part of the Syhabout family. So he worked with Chef James at Box and Bells and also Hawker Fair in San Francisco. Yeah. And then he left to open up his own spot of Thai food, and it's in Berkeley. There's one in Berkeley, and he just opened one up in the city. I've never been in the one in the city, but
Funky Elephant.
Yeah, it's it's good Thai food. It's not there's nothing showy or fancy. It's just bare bones, really good Thai food. Right. It's spicy, which I love. You know, us Latinos, we love our spice. But
the only other people that are doing it that spicy is Chef Pim over at Kin Cow.
Kin Cow, yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're just yo, this shit's spicy, B.
There's another spot. There's another Thai spot in Oakland that they don't give a fuck either about spice levels. Really? It's called Vientiane Cafe.
Vientiane?
Yeah, Vientiane.
Okay.
And their papaya salad is just out of this world spicy. Right. And I was like, dang, I have a really good spice palette, but I was even I might need a Thai tea to wash this down.
Right.
But it was good. It was good. Their crispy rice salad is good at Funky Elephant. That's my go-to. The Hodo tofu dish is good. But I always, like, during the pandemic, I used to get, like, when, you can't really get anything, they were open for to-goes, and I would get their crispy rice salad. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's light, too. You don't feel, like, lethargic or anything afterwards. So I think if I were to say any place I go to consistently, that's probably the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a good spot, good food, and good, like, Chef O and his wife, good people, really nice.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. Cool. And then Sacramento, what do you recommend up there? So I've only been up there for concerts.
Okay,
but, you know, whenever I go up there, I don't know where to go because, like, you really can't follow any.
It's hard because I'm up there a lot, like, visiting my family. I don't really usually, like, come back. I don't really stop anywhere. But I guess when I do, so a chef that I work for when I was working at that restaurant, The Grange in Sacramento.
Yeah.
The executive sous chef. I've been in his restaurant multiple times only because they're open Sundays. So I'm able to go out there. It's called Cannon, and it's good food. He does it well. He gets creative with it. He doesn't keep it very basic. He actually, like, pushes, like, flavors, and great cocktail program too. So if I'm, like, feeling I want to spend some money or just, like, enjoy my dinner, like, on my way home or something, I'll stop by there. And they're always chill. I actually worked with a few of the employees there back in the day. So when last time I went there, it's like, oh, you remember me? I was like, yeah, dude. So not only is it nostalgic, it's also good food.
Well, they must be proud of you, you know, like
yeah,
where you're at.
I hope so. I hope so.
Chef,
try to keep pushing.
CDC of a 2-star. Come on, let's go, chef.
Yeah, I like to keep it, you know, a little humble. You know, I'm still pushing, and I don't think I'm living up to what I can yet. So, but I always have to have that mind frame that keeps me going.
Right.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna stay in the California area? You don't ever think you're gonna leave, or do you like to live?
That's a good question because I always thought, like, maybe I'll settle here, maybe I'll settle there. And to be honest, like, I want to open up my spot in California, in Sacramento, but who's to say if I'm gonna retire there? Right. But we'll see where life takes me. It's like I always try to plan on my life, and it's that old adage, like, you tell God your plans and he'll laugh at you, kind of thing. So I didn't think I'd be where I'm at now for sure. I thought I'd be doing something else, but life always throws you curveballs, so you just gotta like the kitchen life. You gotta roll with the punches and go with it. Sometimes it ends up being better than what you were expecting.
What would you be doing if you weren't cooking? What would be like your career?
That's a good question. I actually ask people that in the kitchen. I actually try and keep light banter going on. I'll just ask people random questions like that. But honestly, a physical therapist.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I love, I like to be healthy. I like to be fit.
Right. So you're a sports fan?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you watch?
So I had to dwindle it down because it's hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah, bro.
And working,
it's like college football, regular football, Canadian football, Russian football,
basketball, baseball, Japanese baseball.
Exactly.
No, so I like all sports, but the ones I mainly keep up with right now are like football, and rugby. The Rugby World Cup's going on right now, which is cool. Okay. But no, those are like the two. Didn't
know about that.
Yeah, those are the two sports I really enjoy.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Rugby.
Yeah.
Can you explain this shit to me?
It's an organized version of tackle, the person with the ball.
Okay.
But no, it's a for the person who doesn't really know. It's basically
how many people on each team?
15. So there's 30 people on the field at one time, and there's one referee, and there's touch judges on the side. Okay. So there's only one person watching all this anarchy.
Right, that's crazy.
And so it's football mixed with soccer to the point to where football is a game of yards, where rugby is a game of possession. So it's like as long as you can keep the ball and keep it moving, like that's kind of what you want. And there's opportunity to switch up. So like in rugby, when you score, you get the ball back. Right. But there's a chance that you might not, because the way the kick is handled, you could probably get tackled right away and the ball taken away. So in any situation, whenever the ball's being put into play, there's definitely a chance of the opposing team can get it. Yeah. Where football is very much like, down, get up, stop, do it again. But like it's very consistent for 80 minutes, like 40-minute halves. You're just running and tackling. You can't pass it forward. You have to pass it backwards. You
have to pass it backwards.
Yeah, so the person has to be behind you, and then they can run up and And so
got it. So you can only run it up the field. You can't.
You can also kick it up the field. So you can actually kick it to yourself, which is actually fun.
Oh,
so
dope. Okay.
So the ball is more. It's like a football, but bigger and a little bit more oval.
Is it heavier?
It's lighter. I feel like it's lighter sometimes.
Okay.
But like since the way it's shaped, you can kick it to where it can go straight up and like just get a little bit of hang time, and you can kick it over people and run and catch it. So it's a fun.
Okay. So
it's a very fun sport.
Is that like a move?
Yeah. So
okay.
So you can also like kick it up over people and catch it, or you can kick it like on the ground and kick it past people and then run up and grab it again.
Okay.
So it's pretty fun.
Who's the Michael Jordan of rugby?
That's a hard one because there's a lot of good players. There's some savage players.
Give me some top 2 or something.
So one guy who I used to love watching when I was younger, he played for New Zealand, which is people argue that's the best team.
Right. That's like the Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's.
I don't know shit about soccer. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Or Man U, I guess people would say.
I hear Arsenal is the best.
I would say that. So this guy was a running back, or like a kind of running back kind of guy, but he was built like a linebacker or like a lineman. And so, but this dude was running past people. His name was Jonah Lamu, and he died a couple years ago, but his highlights still like they're awesome to watch. He just runs through people, just big dude, no one can tackle him.
Huge ass guy, right?
Yeah, and just like running with his knees up, so that way if anyone tried to tackle him, he's kneeing them in the face. Like he was aggressive.
Christ.
And another good guy, he used to play for France, Sébastien Chabal. Mm-hmm. Dude looks like a caveman, just long, burly, and just like.
Right.
So those are the 2 guys I like to watch the highlights.
Right. Okay. And then, that's crazy. Rugby. So 80 minutes, 2 halves. When you score, is there like football when like one touchdown is 6 points?
So it's actually 5 points, and then so
is it a touchdown?
So they call it a try.
Okay. And
so tries are worth 5, and then you get a kick afterwards to make up for the 2 points.
Okay.
So if you make
conversion?
So you get 7 points like in football, but the way it works in rugby is wherever in order to score, you have to make it in the end zone and touch the ball to the ground. Mm-hmm. So wherever you touch the ball down in that end zone, you have to walk it back 20 meters and kick it through the uprights. So the goal is to touch it down closer to the middle, so that way you give the kicker an easier kick.
So he doesn't have to like angle it over?
Exactly.
Got you.
So it's a fun sport.
God damn.
Yeah.
It's like chess.
If you don't know what's going on, it does look very chaotic. Like these guys are just tackling each other. It's weird.
There's no rules.
Yeah, but if you know the rules, like it makes it very interesting. And like there were some good games on yesterday and the day before because it's the World Cup.
Who's in the World Cup?
Well, right now it's quarterfinals. New Zealand beat Ireland. South Africa beat France. Mm-hmm. I think Argentina beat Portugal, which was Portugal's first time ever in the World Cup.
Right.
But it was pretty good. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah.
Damn, it's crazy. What was the other sport?
Football.
Football.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
I'm a Niner fan.
Niner fan?
Yeah, my dad.
Your whole life?
My whole life. Ever since I was adopted, I'll say.
Okay.
But my dad and my mom were season ticket holders back in the day. Like
season ticket holders?
Yeah,
they went to like every game.
They went to the Candlestick. They would like take their friends. It was like a big deal, And then growing up, all I was wearing was Niner shirts and hats and stuff, like jackets, because that's all my dad would wear. And then, just like... just diehard Niner fan.
A lot of love for that team.
Yeah, and it's like at times I'm just like, I know how ridiculous it is. Like to be a big fan, it's like these guys don't, you don't really contribute much to the team, just money. But it's the older I've gotten, the more I appreciate it because it's history, it's nostalgic. It's something that brought my family together on a Sunday, is watching the Niner game or something.
Yeah.
And so
very seldom it's the things that you're doing, but what it represents.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's like with eating dinner or cooking for somebody, the food could honestly be kind of shitty. It doesn't matter. Like that, and that's why you can go to, no shade, but that's why you can go to New Gold Medal Restaurant and it's like bomb. Mm-hmm. It's not like the best Chinese food, that's written about in magazines and people need to fly all over the world to go to, but it's just that camaraderie that it brings. I feel like it's priceless.
Yeah.
And that's truly why you're going to these places or watching these games or but I do think that, I don't know, more and more, I don't live close to my family, so you tell me how this is. Because do you have any kids?
No kids.
Right, so you don't got any kids, right? So by this age that you are right now, your parents had kids. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like family parties, uncles, aunts that was happening back in the day that kind of don't happen anymore.
Yeah.
As I see it.
No, yeah.
especially in the hospitality community, because you move so far away from your family just to learn. And that, honestly, sometimes I feel like the people that live closer to their family, like, that's beneficial. You can always go up there to Sacramento, see mom and dad, and be here. But there's people that move across the country. It's like, fuck. And like, you're their family.
Exactly.
You're their only anchor to anybody that's like familiar to them.
Yeah.
It's a big responsibility being a chef de cuisine, man.
Yeah, and honestly, Chef Kong, my chef at Morimoto's, he used to do this thing to where every Thanksgiving, not everyone celebrates it, or like people are away from their family, but he would actually hold Thanksgiving at his house, and whoever wanted to come could come. And I thought that was it really touched me, because I was like, not a lot of people live by their family, and some people are alone on the holidays, and I thought it was very, very cool of him to do, and I hope to like adopt that once I have my own spot, because the chef life can be a very lonely life, especially the one who's really pushing and kind of like keeps to themselves because they don't have time for relationships. And I was there at one point, and it was very lonely, and so for someone to kind of open their house to you and kind of like make a nice little safe space for you, it's it echoes throughout time. And
chefs need to start reaching out a little bit more to each other and being like, hey man, you okay?
That's very true.
I remember when right before Jeff opened, like, and be like, hey man, how you doing? They're just send a text or say hello or something, because it can be very lonely, especially when you're the boss, because you can't be friends with your employees.
It's hard to. You can, but it's hard to keep that.
You can't ride that line. You know? So to keep it professional, but then keep yourself sane enough to keep it professional. Is the true key. And there's only a few hundred chefs out of all the chefs that are really doing it like really well. You know? But it definitely takes discipline. Like, James is an example of that. Like, he does it well, but it takes discipline. Like, he's going out making sure that he's got his mind right. He's got good people in place to be able to take care of the next generation in the restaurant. And tell me this, do you have any days where you work service and he's not there?
Oh, yeah. But he definitely makes it a priority to be there for service.
For sure.
But there's times where, he has to step out. He's got a family. And like, dude, my hat's off to that guy. 2 Michelin star chef, has 2 kids. He leaves to pick them up from school. Sometimes they hang out with us at the restaurant. But he does it, it's like, it's very impressive. Like, I would like to have kids one day, but I don't know if it's in the cards for me, but whatever, I'll take it as it comes. But to imagine, like, to do the things that he does, to run the restaurants that he has, and also have a family, like, that's so difficult. I have a short attention span, and I have ADHD. I have a form of ADD that I like to think, because I'm just always like, ugh. So to imagine how like disciplined that must be to like have like all these things on your schedule, and he executes them, and he tells me how to organize even better mentally. Sometimes he's not there, and
that's a high honor, man.
And
when they can just leave and they know that you got it.
I mean, one of the first times that happened was I was sous chef at the time, and he went to England with executive sous at the time, and he's like, Fonzie, you're gonna basically be here as the chef for the next for the next 4 days, 3 days. I was like, oh shit, I'm just a sous chef. I was like, I don't know if I could do and you always question yourself. I was like, oh my god, like that's a lot. But you always shine in the moment. So I did well. Obviously the place didn't burn down, but no, it was good. And then so maybe that kind of instilled some trust. But when he's not there, like, you feel it, and not a good way, but like like. It's like dad's not home.
Right.
But when he keeps it there, he's like I said, he's very like he's very no nonsense about service. He's like, hey, this has to go. Is that done properly? So that's like, we always say like service is like game time. That's
service is service.
So when like you can't make mistakes, it's like a basketball game, It's
exactly.
All the fundamentals have to be there, and if you're not doing the fundamentals right, you're kind of messing up everything.
Right.
So
and it is a sport, man. It's just a sport that no one's watching.
Exactly.
Unless you have an open kitchen, whatever. But they don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I'd like to do a on the pass show where I kind of just like hang out with the chef at the pass and just watch service. I've always thought that Gordon Ramsay did that pretty well.
He did.
Boiling Point show. So I'd love to do that.
I still watch that to this day.
Dude, on YouTube, you could watch all that old shit, man. That's there. And there's a lot of value in old cooking shows.
Yeah.
Great Chefs of the World. Mm-hmm. They're on Amazon Prime.
Great Chefs of the World?
Yeah, Great Chefs of the World is called. It's like one of the first like international chef shows that there was. And these dudes don't talk. Mm-hmm. You know, these chefs, these ladies, they just cook.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they show you the dish. So they have a narrator that narrates it because they're just working.
Yeah.
They don't fucking talk. They don't look at the camera. They don't even show the face half the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, and they go to all these restaurants around the world, and some techniques that I feel like cooking does this thing where it's like old techniques are always considered new after some time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it'll go away and then it'll come back and they'll be like, look at this chef, he's so innovative.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, we've been doing this shit for 500 years.
Yeah.
Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
You know? But honestly, those are the people that keep this industry alive, because their curiosity and the things that jade us sometimes, like, yeah, whatever, we've seen it. So we're just like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But to them, it's like the be all end all. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that I made this, or that I ate this, you know?
Yeah.
And I make this joke. I do a lot of personal events in home. Mm-hmm. And people are like, this is the best I've ever had. And I'm like, you need to go out more. You know, like if this is the best you ever had, you need to go out more. You know?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's you just humble yourself in that moment. But you do know that you came from a long line of great chefs that taught you good.
Yeah.
You know, taught you the pursuit of perfection, which is just what you're doing all the time, you know? And I think that's, you know, more important than anything.
Yeah.
You know, and to be able to instill that to your cooks going forward. So, hell yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like, how do you like doing all this? Like, learning all this? Like, this is like, I'm looking at this setup and I'm just like, whoa. But like this connecting to that, and like how you're getting all these microphones, like how long did it take for you to get kind of like used to this? Like,
it took me like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of. So the first iteration of the podcast, I did audio. Mm-hmm. One, because chefs are not media trained, and I didn't want anybody to be nervous. Right. So I just did audio, and then I did like maybe 40 podcasts, and then I realized that the audio was shitty. Like, it wasn't good. People would email me or like text me, be like, hey, I can't fucking hear in my car. Yeah. People trying to listen to it. So that's the biggest turnoff for anybody that's listened to a podcast. Yeah. So thankfully AI came out, and that shit helps me edit the shit to the point where it's like studio sound. Yeah. You know? But YouTube, man, YouTube University. Yeah. Like, I basically just would watch like, what are the top 5 cameras for podcast? And then I would watch like 10 of those videos. And then usually over time, you'd be like, okay, there's 3 cameras that they're talking about. And then you go to the comparison videos. Yeah. Like, this one versus this one. And then you watch like 10 of those, and you're like, okay, this is the one. And so, like, for example, these are A6100s. Uh-huh. They record in HD continuously. And they're one of the only cameras to do that. Because all other cameras stop at 30 minutes. Oh, really? Right. Yeah, like they stop the HD. So I didn't want to stop and reset the camera. Right. So that's why I got those. Okay. And then, you know, I got these microphone arms, but then I found out that these are the wrong ones. I need more low profile, was what they call them. Mm-hmm. Like, you see, like it would basically be this, but inverted. Like, it would come out the other way. Oh, I see. So sort of like come from under you. Yeah. And it makes for better camera angles. Right. It makes so this isn't like in your face. Right. You know? And then I was like, what was a sound thing that I can use to like make the sound better, and have a soundboard, like put music on, like, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. And so the Rodecaster Pro, I learned about that. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I was cooking personal chefing in Palm Springs. I went to a Best Buy to buy like some cord I needed. And there was some people shooting a video there, and I'm like, damn, they look familiar. So I walked over to see what they were doing, and they were the people that showed me how to use this on YouTube. Oh, snap. Yeah, they were recording a blog that day outside of the Best Buy of cool. Like buying equipment. Yeah. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, I see you guys all the time. Yeah, and I was like, you guys taught me everything that I know about doing podcasts, you know? Yeah. And it's also something that can humble you every time because, again, sometimes the audio sucks. Sometimes the camera angles weren't right. Sometimes the lighting isn't right. And I'm doing this all at once. I'm recording.
No, you're multitasking.
I'm like cutting cameras and shit. Like this is all, and then making sure the microphone's right on you and making sure like we don't tap the table too much or like that you have your drinks. Like the next thing I want to do is like making an experience. Yeah. Like, you can come here. You can bring guests if you want. They can hang out right there. We could like just chill. Yeah. And we don't have to, there's no time limit. Yeah. Like we could drink a little bit, hang out. So it's more relaxed. Yeah. I feel like
you get more of a genuine response.
Exactly.
Yeah. More organic.
Sometimes like, and I know you probably felt this, like we didn't really get into the groove until like 20 minutes in.
What are you talking about, man? I thought we were getting into it right away.
You know what I mean, though? It's like we got to know each other, and then now the conversation flows a little better, right? And so I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, well, do I put like cheeses out for them? Yeah. Do we hang out and eat charcuterie first, and then go do the podcast?
That's not a bad idea. And kind of open them up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe have somebody that's a sommelier that wants to hang out. Like, give us wine during the show, and then we have them sit down and whatever.
I think those are all good ideas. Yeah, I think it's the evolution of like, it's almost like making a dish, right?
Exactly.
But like you're making an experience.
Exactly. And so, I think, just in terms of like, what is the show? Who watches it? Young cooks watch it. Yeah. So it's like for them more than it is for our peers or anybody that's older. Yeah. Nobody really understands the like importance of this. And I think that to communicate to the new generation, they don't read cookbooks. They listen to podcasts. Yeah. So this is the best live ongoing, right? When you open your restaurant or go do your thing, you could come back and talk about that. Yeah. And it's quick. It's from your mouth. It's not like I talked to this editor and they wrote this and then they put it out there. Yeah. It's cutting the steps of that. Yeah. So it's like real like gonzo journalism on the spot. You know what I mean? Just like, let's talk for real. And I feel like we could also resolve a lot of our issues through that way. Like there's always a lot of controversy, a lot of chefs getting flamed. Yeah. And I would like to hear from their mouth, like, what's going on? Like, is this stuff in this article true? And I also don't want to make it a place where people can come make excuses for themselves either. Yeah. Because it's going to be real. Like, I'm going to be real with them and what I think. Yeah. And what somebody told me recently is you have to be careful what you agree with. And like people need to know that like I don't necessarily agree with everything you say, right? But I'm not gonna like crucify you for it either. Yeah. So we're just gonna have a conversation, and whatever your opinions are, whatever. There's some rules to life, and we all know that there's some rules and lines you don't cross. And as long as you don't cross those lines, and everything's all good. Yeah. But definitely like getting a job, trying to get a job in like the corporate space, or like I feel like there's no acceptance for Sucio Talk right now in the like corporate world. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know one of my boys that I did a podcast with him live on YouTube, and the audio sucked, so I forgot to take it down. And he texted me and he was like, "Hey, I got asked about this in an interview, this interview in an interview for a job, Yeah. He's like, "Can you take it down?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it down." Yeah. And it's like, it's flattering to hear that people are listening to the show, but also like, damn, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. Right. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, unfortunately, the truth is hard to hear in certain parts of our industry. And there's lines that get blurred and, I don't mean any harm, but there will be some shit on here that gets talked about that's not kosher, right? Or like not the best thing to be bringing up, or whatever it is, Yeah. But I don't give a fuck, man. It's fucking Sucio Talk, Like,
this is your space.
Exactly. This is the safe space right here to say what you got to say, and we talk about those things like yelling in the kitchen, and fucking all the uncomfortable like weird sexual harassment shit that we witnessed over the years happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it was just normal, to us. And so now looking at that lens and being like, okay, what were we thinking? What were we doing? And how do we get to the next phase of things where it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't believe in cancel culture, but at the end of the day, some motherfuckers got to get canceled.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people got to go.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. You
Yeah,
know?
and
That's fine.
There's a happy medium to that. Yeah.
Exactly. But there is definitely this other side where it's like I went to eat at a restaurant and I said, you know, thank you, miss, and are you gendering me? And I'm like, you know, there's just like a certain courtesy that I've been taught growing up, sir, ma'am.
Yeah, it's manners,
you know, and
etiquette,
right? So it's like, how do I have etiquette in this new world?
It's
you know what I mean? Is everyone a they?
Yeah.
Are we just like, what are the rules? Basically, like, teach me, the dumb caveman, right, the dumb man, how to be a better person in society.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just like dismiss people and be like, well, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not doing any favors to that person.
Yeah.
By just ostracizing them and being like, he can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
Let's fucking get him in here, beat him up a little bit for what he did.
Yeah.
Then be like, all right, motherfucker, this is what the right way to do shit.
Yeah.
You know, and get with the program or not.
Yeah.
You know? And I think through conversation like this, I think we can get to a place of like freedom and peace and
of course,
and no more of this like behind the closed door fucking abuse shit. Like it's got to stop.
Yeah,
you know, like we all looked up to Marco Pierre White. We all looked up to Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
and shit, Gordon Ramsay's still yelling at people on Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So let's not act also like it's like not part of the industry.
Yeah,
because I feel like some chefs are afraid to talk about it. You know. But also that has to do with, I think, a lot of restaurants have different media marketing firms that they work with.
Yeah.
And so there's rules within that I'm not very, privy to. So I think for me, the next step in all this, like now that I found out how to do a setup and mics and lights and all that, is I gotta get media trained. Yeah. And I gotta get a degree in broadcasting. Okay. I think that's the next step. Yeah. You know. While I'm cooking, you know what I mean? Yeah, because there's
a tall order.
Yeah, exactly. But there's nothing that can give me the fire like running a kitchen. Yeah, because I notice I'm at my best when I'm tired. To be honest with you,
sometimes that's how it works.
I'm better tired. Yeah. So like, I'd rather have a full-time like chef gig and then do this as a side hustle and like have that like closing window of time. Yeah. Because I did the shit where I like tried not working as much to focus on this. Yeah. And it didn't work out for me. Oh, no? You know? No, because like I don't know the workflow of this, right? That's fair. So, and I don't know the workflow of an office. Mm-hmm. So me standing in front of the computer, I'm like, I didn't get anything done today. Yeah. But looking at everything after a while, right? It's not that instant gratification of cooking where you cook something good, someone likes it, they tell you, you say, okay, cool. Yeah. This was a long progression that now I see. Cool, like you did spend time learning. You do know better. Yeah. But during that time, I was like, you're a fucking failure. Yeah. You just wasted your time. You know? But
that's a very good way of putting that. It's like good. A very instant gratification in the kitchen. But like, something like this where you put a lot of time in and you don't really see it until you take a step back.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's the most important thing any chef can do, cook can do. Definitely look for your next move at a restaurant or wherever you want to work. Yeah. But definitely take a week off before you start working at that other spot. Yeah. Go back home. Don't do anything for a couple of days. Yeah. Like sleep. You know what I mean? Sleep. Like just do things, you drink water. Do things you normally don't do in the kitchen because you're so busy. Yeah. You know? And I'm happy that we're going where we're going and kitchens are starting to get more like, up to speed. Yeah. It just takes us a little while more than other industries, and that's why we suffered the most during pandemic. Yes. Yeah. But I think if we have forward-thinking people that can also just be given a platform to say their piece and be like, this is how I would fix things. Yeah. We can get new ideas going, and people that maybe listen to the show could get little tidbits of information and be like, oh, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And then we better everything. But for a long time, it became kind of gatekeepy, and there was only like 5 or 6 chefs that were talked to or could talk, and everybody else was like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. And now you're starting to see even Instagram is the best that I've ever seen do it. Like, this is our host and she works here, whatever. It's always like these shout out posts. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's like just like Burdell. Everyone's name is on the menu.
Yeah.
You know, like that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
Everyone should get credit for it. It's not just Chef Jeff.
Yeah.
Like, he can't do it all on his own.
Yeah.
You know, the only people that do it all on their own are, you know, personal chefs.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
So that's why they deserve their respect.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it with no team.
Yeah.
Imagine writing a 6-course menu that you need to do for 15 people with no help. No help. And you're like, fuck, dude. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think everybody should just look at each other with sort of like love and learning.
Yeah.
Because you can learn from a personal chef the same way you can learn from a cook at Applebee's, the same way you can learn from a cook at Commis.
Yeah.
Or a cook at here. You know, everyone's got something to teach.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Sucio Talk, baby.
Hell yeah.
Fucking thanks for coming on.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Commis, fucking, where can they find it? What is the address?
3859 Piedmont Avenue.
Oakland,
California.
California, baby. There's a lot of international listeners too, so
yeah.
I don't know where you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Piedmont neighborhood. Shout out to James Syhabout for letting you come on.
Yeah,
of course. I'm
course.
sure that was a discussion. He's like, I'm gonna go on Sucio Talk. Oh no. But yeah, thank you for making the time today.
Of course.
And have a good week, man. Have a good service.
You as
today,
well, man.
Right? You're working today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. You got to go make it over there. Cool, man.
All right.
Everybody out there, I did my first pop-up. Hope you check out the footage on truffleshufflesf.com. For right now, I'll be working with them. But in the future, I'll be doing more pop-ups. So peace out. Check me out on YouTube. We got to grow that. And appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Awesome, man. That was fun.